Let's walk on the wise path.
Have you ever felt like there's something just off about the world? Like we're living in a reality where the rules don't add up? What if I told you that this feeling isn't just in your head, but it's a whisper of ancient truth trying to break through? The Gnostics, those mysterious seekers of hidden knowledge, believed our reality has been hijacked not by random chance, but by entities called Archons. These beings, they claimed, are masters of manipulation, keeping us trapped in a fog of forgetfulness. Intrigued? Let's uncover the secrets they didn't want you to know. The Gnostic view of reality. The Gnostics weren't your ordinary religious group. They didn't take the world at face value, and in fact, they believed that what we see and experience is not the whole picture. Imagine being in a dream where everything seems real, yet somewhere deep inside, you know this isn't all that exists. This is how the Gnostics viewed the material world. To them, this reality wasn't created by a benevolent God, but by a lesser, flawed being known as the Demiurge. The Demiurge is not just a distant god, but a cosmic craftsman who, instead of creating the world in its purest form, shaped a distorted and incomplete version of it. Think of the Demiurge as an artist trying to recreate a masterpiece, but missing the essence of what made it beautiful. In a way, the world we live in, according to the Gnostics, is not the authentic creation of a perfect divine being. Instead, it's a mock creation, full of imperfections, suffering, and limitations. The Archons, as we will discuss later, work for the Demiurge. They serve to uphold this imperfect material world by keeping us locked in it. The Gnostic view of reality is that this physical world, with all its beauty and pain, is not the true reality. It's merely a prison and illusion designed to keep us from accessing the higher, spiritual truths that lie beyond our perception. This isn't a concept exclusive to ancient Gnosticism, though. If you look closely, you can see the echoes of this thought in many modern philosophies and spiritual teachings. For example, many people today talk about feeling like there's more to life than what they can see, taste, and touch. They sense that there's a deeper, invisible reality beyond the material one. The Gnostics were saying this hundreds, even thousands of years ago. What's even more fascinating is the idea that the Gnostics didn't just passively accept this prison of the mind. They didn't believe we were stuck here without hope. On the contrary, they saw a way out, a way to transcend the limitations of this world and reconnect with the divine. But the journey wasn't easy. It required deep inner knowledge, a kind of spiritual awakening, which they called Gnosis. Gnosis isn't just intellectual knowledge. It's an experiential, direct knowing that transcends the mind. It's a mystical form of understanding that leads to an awareness of the divine spark that exists within each of us. Gnosis is about waking up to the truth of who we are, beneath all the illusions that the material world and the Archons impose on us. To the Gnostics, reality was like a vast, intricate puzzle, something meant to be understood only through deep inner awakening. This process of waking up was essential for liberation. But the first step in this process was realizing that we are not truly free. We're not living in the world as it's meant to be. We're living in a state of forgetfulness, trapped in a world that's controlled by forces beyond our awareness. When we see the world as the Gnostics saw it, everything changes. What if the reality you live in, the one you assume is real, is just a shadow of something far greater? What if everything you've been taught to accept as truth is only the surface, and there's a deeper, more profound truth waiting for you to discover? This doesn't mean you have to reject the world entirely, but it does mean that you should approach life with a sense of critical awareness, a willingness to question what is presented to you as fact. And most importantly, it calls for a journey within one that goes beyond material pursuits and dives deep into spiritual exploration. Only by doing so can we start to uncover the illusion of the world and find our way back to the divine. The Gnostics knew this, and their teachings offer us the same opportunity to look at the world differently, to question what we think we know, and to uncover the deeper truths hidden beneath the surface. This, they believed, was the only way to truly live, to awaken from the fog of illusion, and to realize the divine potential within. The role of the Archons. To understand the role of the Archons in Gnostic cosmology, we first need to grasp the concept of the material world as a prison in which the mind is trapped and subjected to constant manipulation. The Archons, according to the Gnostics, are the unseen jailers of this world, holding us captive in an endless cycle of ignorance and distraction. But they don't imprison us with bars and chains. They use something far more insidious, our own thoughts, beliefs, and perceptions. Imagine that you're in a room, but the walls are made of mirrors. You can see everything, but you can't see the walls closing in on you. The Archons are like those mirrors. They distort your perception of reality. They fill your mind with distractions, false beliefs, and unnecessary fears that prevent you from seeing the truth. Every time you focus on material desires, societal expectations, or external validation, you're walking deeper into the Archon's trap. You may think you're free, but in reality, you're confined by the walls of your own conditioned mind. The Archons aren't limited to the external world either. They manifest internally as doubts, insecurities, fears, and attachments. These are the mental and emotional chains that keep us bound to the material plane. Just as a puppet is controlled by invisible strings, we are often controlled by invisible forces, the Archons, who manipulate our perception of reality. These forces push us to chase after fleeting pleasures, accumulate material wealth, and follow the crowd without questioning why. In the hypostasis of the Archons, the Gnostics describe these entities as dark, malevolent forces that act as guardians of the material world. Their job is to keep us asleep, unaware of the divine spark within us. These entities work to maintain the status quo by ensuring that we never look beyond the veil of illusion to see the true nature of reality. But the Archons aren't all-powerful. They rely on one thing, our ignorance. As long as we continue to identify with the material world, as long as we remain caught in the distractions and the illusions they create, they remain in control. But as soon as we begin to question the nature of reality and turn inward, the Archons lose their grip on us. It's like pulling back the curtain on a magician's trick and seeing the mechanism behind the illusion. The Archons, in essence, are the custodians of the material realm, the realm of suffering, limitation, and illusion. They ensure that humanity stays focused on the physical world, trapped in the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, never breaking free to experience the spiritual truth that lies beyond. They make us believe that what we see with our eyes is all there is, that the world we experience with our senses is the ultimate reality. But the Gnostics didn't buy into this. They believed that the Archon's power only existed as long as we remain blind to the truth. The moment we wake up, the moment we recognize that we are more than just our bodies, more than just our thoughts and emotions, the Archons lose their power over us. The Archons act like gatekeepers, blocking us from the divine light that exists within each of us. They represent the mental and spiritual barriers that prevent us from accessing deeper levels of consciousness. These forces keep us from realizing our true nature, and in doing so, they keep us from fulfilling our spiritual potential. They represent everything that stands in the way of human enlightenment, the lies, the distractions, the illusions, and the limitations that cloud our perception. To break free from the influence of the Archons, the Gnostics believed, requires a radical shift in consciousness. It's not enough to simply reject the material world. It's about understanding that the true world is not made of matter, but of consciousness, energy, and divine light. It's about awakening to the fact that our true essence is far beyond the confines of the physical body, beyond time, and beyond space. The Archons, then, represent everything that obscures this truth, everything that keeps us in the dark about our divine nature. In modern terms, we can see the influence of the Archons in the way society operates today. The constant push for consumption, the distractions of social media, the pressure to conform to societal norms These are the modern-day Archons at work. They distract us from what really matters and keep us focused on the external, on things that don't bring true fulfillment. It's no surprise that so many people feel lost, disconnected, and out of touch with their inner selves. But the Gnostics didn't leave us helpless. They offered a path to liberation, a path that involves looking beyond the material world, questioning everything, and awakening to the divine spark within. The key to breaking free from the Archon's grip is self-awareness, inner exploration, and spiritual awakening. It's about realizing that you are not just your body, not just your thoughts, but a divine being with infinite potential. When you awaken to this truth, the Archons no longer have any power over you. The illusion shatters, and you are free to experience reality as it truly is. The divine spark within. One of the most empowering aspects of Gnostic teachings is the belief in the divine spark within every human being. This concept is central to Gnostic cosmology, and it's what sets the Gnostics apart from other spiritual traditions. While many religions teach that salvation comes from an external source, a god, a prophet, or a religious institution, the Gnostics believed that salvation comes from within. The divine spark is the essence of who you truly are. It's your connection to the divine, to the universe, to everything that exists. It's the light within you that has the potential to awaken and illuminate your entire being. The Archons want to keep you from realizing this spark because once you do, their hold on you is broken. They want you to stay trapped in the material world, focused on external distractions, so you never discover the power that lies within. Think of the divine spark as a tiny flame inside you, hidden beneath layers of fear, doubt, and illusion. Over time, as we experience life, this flame gets covered up by the dirt of our conditioned beliefs, our emotional baggage, and our identification with the material world. The Archons work hard to keep this flame smothered, to make sure we forget that it's even there. But the Gnostics believed that this spark could never truly be extinguished. It's always there, waiting to be uncovered. It's the part of you that is eternal, unchanging, and connected to the divine source. When you tap into this spark, you awaken to your true nature, and the illusions of the material world fall away. The divine spark is not something you have to earn. It's already within you, part of your very being. It's not about becoming someone else. It's about remembering who you truly are. The Gnostics believed that the moment you realize this truth, you begin the process of spiritual liberation. The spark within you is your connection to the divine, and once you awaken it, you no longer need to rely on external authority or ritual to find your way. You are your own guide, your own teacher, and your own source of truth. This is where meditation and self-reflection come into play. By quieting the mind and turning inward, you can begin to access this divine spark. You don't need to look outside of yourself for answers. All the answers are already within. Meditation allows you to connect with your higher self, your true essence, and to bring that divine light into your everyday life. Once you recognize the divine spark within you, your perspective on reality changes. You begin to see the world not as something separate from you, but as an extension of your own consciousness. The Archons, the illusions, the distractions, they no longer have power over you. You realize that you are not a separate individual, but a part of the vast, interconnected web of existence. You are one with the divine, and everything you see and experience is a reflection of your inner truth. This realization is transformative. It's like waking up from a long, deep sleep where you were trapped in a dream that seemed real. The moment you awaken to your divine nature, the entire world shifts. The boundaries between the material and spiritual realms blur, and you begin to experience life from a place of higher consciousness, free from the limitations of the Archons. So, how do you access this divine spark? It's about slowing down, being present, and tuning into your inner voice. It's about learning to listen to your intuition, trusting your inner wisdom, and realizing that the divine is not some far-off, distant force. It's right here, within you, always. When you connect with this inner light, you begin to see through the illusions that the Archons have created. You start to recognize the world for what it truly is, a reflection of your consciousness. And once you realize this, nothing can hold you back. You become the creator of your own reality, free from the influence of the Archons and empowered by the divine spark that resides within you. The prison of the mind. Imagine this for a moment. You're in a room, but you don't realize it's a prison. The walls are invisible. The door is locked, but you think everything around you is as it should be. You go through the motions, following routines, believing that this is life. This is what the Gnostics saw when they looked at the world. They didn't see a physical prison with iron bars or guards. What they saw was a mental and spiritual prison, a construct built on illusions that block the way to higher knowledge and freedom. The Archons, according to Gnostic teachings, are not physical entities, but forces that manipulate the mind, creating false beliefs, desires, and fears. They shape our perceptions, making us see the world in a way that benefits their agenda, keeping us distracted, fearful, and disconnected from our true divine nature. The material world, as we experience it, is nothing but a construct designed to keep us trapped in our limited perceptions. How do these Archons work? They create a prison for the mind, a set of beliefs, ideologies, and distractions that keep us from seeing the truth. These beliefs shape the way we view the world and ourselves, confining us to a narrow, limited version of reality. For example, we might believe that happiness comes from material wealth, that success is measured by our job title, or that love is based on appearances and superficial traits. These are all illusions, distractions created by the Archons to keep us from discovering the deeper truths about existence. The prison of the mind is not something that can be seen with the eyes. It's built into our belief systems, our thought patterns, and the way we interact with the world. It's not about physical walls, but about the mental and emotional walls we've built around ourselves. These walls prevent us from seeing the interconnectedness of all things, from realizing our true nature, and from accessing the divine spark within. The key to breaking out of this mental prison lies in questioning everything. The Gnostics believed that the first step to liberation was to recognize that we are imprisoned by our beliefs. Only when we understand that we're trapped in a self-imposed prison can we begin the process of freeing ourselves. This involves deep self-examination, mindfulness, and the willingness to look beyond the surface of things. It's about recognizing that everything you've been taught, everything you've accepted as reality, is just a story, a construct that you've internalized. This is where the power of self-awareness comes in. The more you become aware of your thoughts and emotions, the more you can start to see where the Archons have been manipulating you. You begin to recognize the patterns in your thinking, the fears, the insecurities, the attachments that have been holding you back. You start to see how these patterns are not who you truly are, but rather the result of conditioning and external influence. And once you recognize these patterns, you have the power to change them. To break free from the prison of the mind, the Gnostics taught, you must take responsibility for your own thoughts and perceptions. You must stop allowing external forces, whether societal, familial, or cultural, to dictate how you think, feel, and act. Instead, you must begin to cultivate your own inner wisdom, trust your intuition, and follow the path that resonates with your deepest truth. This is the essence of spiritual awakening, recognizing that you are the creator of your own reality and that the power to change your life lies within you. The more you detach from the material world and its distractions, the more you open yourself up to the higher dimensions of existence. You begin to see the world with new eyes, recognizing the beauty and interconnectedness of all things. The walls of the prison dissolve, and you are free to explore the vast potential of your mind, body, and spirit. Breaking free from the prison of the mind isn't about rejecting the physical world entirely. It's about transcending it, seeing it for what it truly is, not as the ultimate reality, but as a stepping stone to something greater. The material world is not the end of the story. It's just the beginning. The real journey is the journey within, where you discover your true divine nature and unlock the unlimited potential that lies within you. Once you begin to see through the illusions of the material world, you start to break free from the Archon's grip. The world that once seemed so real starts to fade, and you begin to experience a deeper, more profound sense of truth. This is the awakening that the Gnostics spoke of, the realization that the prison of the mind is only an illusion, and that true freedom comes from within. Modern parallels to ancient wisdom. When we look at Gnosticism today, we might find it easy to dismiss as an ancient belief system disconnected from the modern world. But what if I told you that the ideas presented by the Gnostics are more relevant now than ever? In fact, many of the concepts in Gnostic thought parallel what we see in today's world. The Archons, the illusions, the manipulation of perception, they are not just historical relics. They're alive and well in the modern age. The world we live in today is filled with distractions, technology, social media, consumerism, and constant bombardment from the media. It's easy to get lost in the noise, to focus on the latest trends, the newest products, or the next big thing. But in doing so, we often lose touch with what really matters. We become caught up in the game of life, forgetting that the true game is the one inside of us, the one that leads to self-discovery, spiritual awakening, and the realization of our divine potential. The Archons, in modern terms, can be seen as the forces that keep us distracted, that prevent us from looking inward and discovering our true nature. They don't necessarily take the form of mythical entities or cosmic beings, but they manifest in the form of social pressures, media narratives, and cultural norms that dictate how we should live, what we should believe, and what we should strive for. These external forces manipulate our perceptions, making us believe that happiness, success, and fulfillment come from external sources: material wealth, social status, or approval from others. Social media, for instance, is a modern-day Archon in disguise. It feeds us a constant stream of images and messages that shape our self-image, our desires, and our beliefs. It tells us that we need more followers, more likes, more things to be happy and fulfilled. But all of this is an illusion, a distraction created to keep us chasing something that will never truly satisfy us. The more we buy into this narrative, the more we stay trapped in the Archon's web. And it's not just social media. Our entire consumer-driven society operates on the same principles. We're constantly told that we need more stuff, more experiences, more validation to be happy. But the truth is that none of this will ever fill the void inside us. The void can only be filled by reconnecting with our true divine nature, by waking up to the divine spark within us, and realizing that true happiness comes from within, not from external sources. This is the essence of Gnostic wisdom, that the material world is an illusion, and that true freedom and fulfillment come from within. The more we focus on the external world, the more we chase after things that don't truly satisfy us, the more we feed into the Archon's control. But when we look inward, when we begin the process of self-awareness and spiritual awakening, we break free from the cycle of desire and distraction. We realize that we are not our possessions, our social media profiles, or our material success. We are divine beings, connected to the source of all creation. In today's world, the Archons may not look like ancient gods, but they are still at work. They manifest as the distractions, the fears, the pressures, and the illusions that keep us from seeing the truth. The good news is that just as the Gnostics offered a path to liberation in their time, we have the same opportunity today. The path to awakening is the same. It requires self-awareness, inner exploration, and the courage to question the narratives we've been fed. When we begin to break free from the illusions of the material world, we start to see the world with new eyes. We recognize that the true source of happiness, success, and fulfillment lies not in external things, but in the divine spark within us. The Archons, in whatever form they take today, can no longer hold us captive when we realize that we have the power to shape our own reality. The Gnostic message, then, is as relevant today as it ever was. Awaken to your true nature. Break free from the illusions and reclaim your divine essence. Breaking free. Now that we've explored the nature of the Archons and the prison of the mind, we come to the crucial question: how do we break free from their influence? The answer lies in a fundamental shift in perspective, a conscious decision to move beyond the illusions that have kept us trapped in the material world. The Gnostics believed that liberation wasn't something that could be granted to us by an external force. It was something that we had to achieve through our own inner awakening. Breaking free from the control of the Archons, in this sense, is a deeply personal journey, one that requires self-awareness, discipline, and a willingness to see beyond the surface of things. The first step in this process is acknowledging that we are imprisoned by our own beliefs and perceptions. It's like being in a maze, but not realizing that the walls are self-imposed. For most of us, we go through life accepting what we've been taught, assuming that the world is exactly as it appears. We follow the rules, adhere to social norms, and live according to external standards of success and happiness. But the more we follow these paths, the further we get from our true nature. The key to liberation, according to the Gnostics, is to realize that we are not bound by the limitations of the material world or by the societal constructs that govern our lives. The Archons thrive on our attachment to the material realm. They keep us focused on external things like wealth, status, and approval because they know that these things will never bring us true fulfillment. When we focus on the material world and its fleeting pleasures, we stay trapped in the cycle of desire and dissatisfaction. But what happens when we stop seeking outside validation? What happens when we turn our attention inward instead of looking for answers in the world around us? This is where the power of inner knowledge Gnosis comes in. Gnosis is not something that can be taught to you. It's something you must experience for yourself. It's a form of knowing that goes beyond the rational mind and the physical senses. Gnosis is about awakening to your true divine nature and realizing that you are more than your body, your thoughts, and your external circumstances. Breaking free from the Archons requires a commitment to inner exploration. It's about questioning everything: your beliefs, your desires, your fears, and recognizing that these are not necessarily your true essence, but the result of conditioning, societal pressures, and external influences. The Gnostics believed that the more you attached yourself to the material world, the further you moved from your true nature. But when you detach from those attachments, when you stop chasing after things that don't bring lasting happiness, you begin to tap into the divine spark that lies within you. This is not an easy journey. It requires courage and discipline. It requires a willingness to face your fears, your doubts, and your insecurities. It means letting go of the things that no longer serve you, whether they're material possessions, toxic relationships, or old patterns of thinking. It means becoming aware of how much of your life is dictated by external forces and how much of it is shaped by your own choices. The Archons cannot control you if you stop identifying with the material world. When you break free from the illusions of wealth, status, and approval, you regain your power. The true self, the divine spark within you, is never subject to the whims of the Archons. It is eternal, unchanging, and always connected to the divine source. This process of breaking free is often described as a spiritual awakening. It's not about rejecting the material world entirely, but about transcending it. The Gnostics did not see the physical world as evil or inherently flawed. They saw it as a tool for spiritual growth. The key was in how we perceived it. When we look at the world through the lens of materialism and external validation, we remain trapped in the illusion. But when we look at the world through the lens of spiritual awareness, we begin to see it for what it truly is: a reflection of our own consciousness, a place for growth, learning, and self-realization. The Gnostics believed that the ultimate goal of life was not to accumulate wealth or power, but to awaken to our divine nature. Once we make this realization, the Archons lose their hold over us. We are no longer controlled by fear, desire, or societal expectations. Instead, we become free to live according to our true essence, authentic, connected to the divine, and at peace with the world around us. So, how do we begin this journey of awakening? It starts with a willingness to question everything. Don't take anything at face value. Ask yourself, what do I truly believe? Where do my beliefs come from? Are they truly mine, or have they been shaped by the Archons and the external world? When you start asking these questions, you begin the process of breaking free from the prison of the mind. The journey to liberation is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process. Every time you challenge your beliefs, let go of an old pattern, or detach from a material desire, you are breaking free from the Archon's control. And as you do, you will begin to feel more alive, more connected to your true nature, and more aligned with the divine spark within you. The power of choice. One of the most empowering aspects of Gnostic thought is the emphasis on choice. The Gnostics believed that the power to break free from the control of the Archons lay within us, and it all started with a choice. In every moment, we have the ability to choose how we perceive the world, how we respond to our circumstances, and how we interact with others. This power of choice is something that no Archon, no external force, can take from us unless we allow it. At its core, the Gnostic path is about taking responsibility for your own life. The Archons thrive on your passivity, on your tendency to conform to external expectations and follow the crowd without questioning. But when you take ownership of your own thoughts, emotions, and actions, you reclaim your power. You no longer let the world dictate who you are or what you should be. You become the creator of your own reality. The Gnostics taught that true freedom comes not from external circumstances, but from internal awareness. It's about realizing that you are not a passive participant in life, but an active co-creator. Every thought you think, every decision you make shapes your reality. This is why the power of choice is so important. It's the key to breaking free from the Archons and reclaiming your divine essence. But with this power comes responsibility. The more aware you become of the choices you're making, the more you realize that you are the one who has been shaping your own experience all along. The Archons might have had a hand in guiding you towards certain beliefs and patterns, but you are the one who chose to follow them. This realization can be both empowering and humbling. It means that the power to change your life is entirely within your control. It's not up to anyone else to free you. It's up to you to free yourself. How do you use this power of choice to break free from the Archons? It starts by making conscious decisions. Every time you choose to act from a place of love, compassion, and authenticity, you weaken the Archon's grip on your life. Every time you choose to detach from material desires, to look inward instead of outward, you strengthen your connection to the divine spark within you. The Archons thrive on your disconnection from your true self. They want you to believe that you are separate from the divine, that you are powerless, and that you must rely on external sources for happiness and fulfillment. But when you realize that you are already connected to the divine, when you choose to live from that truth, the Archons lose their power over you. The key to this process is to trust yourself, trust your intuition, trust your inner wisdom, and trust that you are capable of making choices that lead you to greater awareness and spiritual growth. The more you trust yourself, the more you will align with your true essence and the divine spark within. In the end, the power of choice is the key to your liberation. You are not a passive observer in this world. You are an active participant, co-creating your reality with every decision you make. By choosing to awaken to your divine nature, by choosing to break free from the illusions of the material world, you take back control from the Archons and reclaim your place in the spiritual cosmos. As we wrap this up, let me leave you with a thought. The Archons, the illusions, the distractions, they only have power if we let them. The Gnostics taught that the divine spark within you is stronger than any external force. It's your compass, your anchor, your light in the darkness. So, the next time you feel trapped or overwhelmed, remember this: the key to freedom isn't out there, it's within you. You have the power to wake up, to see through the illusions, and to unlock your true potential. Are you ready to embrace your inner spark and step into your divine nature? The journey starts now. Let's walk it together.